The title of this podcast is You're Going to Have the Day Anyway. Why not enjoy it? This podcast is inspired by how I often think about uh, things that I do within the course of a day that sometimes aren't exactly a vacation day. They don't uh, include hanging out at the beach or, doing a run on the mountain if you're out skiing. They don't include that, or kicking back and just relaxing and watching your favorite show or taking the load off and reading a book. Sometimes there's some things that you have to do during the course of a day that are not to your liking. So, for example, you're driving somewhere and you have a flat tire. You wouldn't have chosen it, but now that you have, why not choose to have the experience of what it feels like to change a tire without bothering yourself about it? The same thing, staying on this example with cars, your car won't start one day. You can make that a problem and it shouldn't have been this way. And who was the last person driving it? You can do all that. Doesn't change the fact that the car won't start. Or you can say, hey, here I am on this planet in this very moment. I'm experiencing a car that won't start. Like, how do I make the most of that? And so when the repair person, whether it's a tow truck driver that picks you up because the car won't start and you're out there, perhaps stranded for a bit, or you have a flat tire and someone's coming to change the tire, whatever the case may be, if you're choosing to not make that moment a problem, that you would express gratitude when that tow truck driver shows up. You won't go on and on about how late you are because it happened at the worst possible time. You won't do all of that. You'll just express gratitude that someone is coming to help. You were catching a flight, the flight got delayed, got canceled. You can totally make that be a problem. You can, but you're going to have the experience anyway. The time is going to pass anyway. How do you want to spend it? I've seen people do this really well and people not do it so well. I think I told the story at a couple presentations that I gave at Mayo Clinic about something that I observed a few years ago. Fortunately, I was 2.0, Keith 2.0, meaning working on myself to be a better me, not requiring life for people to change. But fortunately, this happened after I've been doing that for a few years, that I was in the airport and the flight got delayed. Had I been Keith 1.0, who's bothered by the slightest thing that doesn't meet my expectations, I would have totally missed this. But the flight got delayed and there was nothing we could do about it. There was no other flight, for several hours, if there was a flight at all. And I remember there were majority of the people were upset about the flight being delayed and potentially being canceled. And they were doing what people do when they can't handle not the situation, they can't handle themselves. The situation is indifferent. For whatever reason, there's a flight delay or there's going to be a flight cancellation. Nothing we can do about that to change that, not us. So you can make a choice about that. You could be a person who can't handle that, and then you do things and engage in behaviors of people that can't handle situations, or you can be a person who can handle that situation and you behave completely differently. And that's exactly what happened in this example. The people that couldn't handle the situation, those were people that were up there threatening not to fly on that airline again. They were talking about how inconvenienced they were from this whole experience and how they had to get somewhere. And I don't doubt that that may be true, but they're not the only ones who are in this boat, but they're the ones acting as if they are. And they are demanding some kind of resolution by the flight staff. And they are carrying on. And the next person gets up there and they are pretty much the same. And it just goes on. And then I happened to see a family of five. There was a mother, a father. They had three kids with them, one who was walking, another in a stroller, and another that was in a Bjorn. And what they did during that whole delay, they didn't say anything to the flight staff. They didn't complain or commiserate with other passengers. It's not what they did. I saw them sit down on the floor because all the seating was taken, and they took out coloring book, a board game, And that's how they chose to spend their time. What a great parenting moment. What a great relationship moment between the two adults. That's one way to spend your time. So you're going to have the day anyway. You're going to have the experience anyway. Why not find a way to lift it, make it better, or enjoy it? And at the very least, don't make it worse. If you're going through a divorce right now, you're going to go through the divorce anyway. Don't make it a bigger problem than what it is. Let's say that you define going through a divorce as problem number one. Your inability to handle it, which causes suffering, becomes problem number two. I'm a big believer that one problem is more than enough. And this goes for everything. You're taking care of aging parents, you're dealing with a situation regarding your own health, whatever the case may be, your inability to handle it inside is what the real problem is. That's the suffering. Whatever happens outside of your control, that is up to life and how life unfolds, and that's part of our human experience. But what happens on the inside, that's up to you if you're conscious and you're working on yourself. So I'm a big believer in that if I'm going to have the day anyway, why not make it a good day, regardless of what happens? And if I can't make it a good day, I can make it better than it normally would be if I was up to my old tricks of being bothered and not being able to handle it.